Hey everyone. This is definitely going to be a bit of a different type of stream than what I think you're used to, just because I've had a really rough day and I figured I'm not the type of person that just likes to stew in my room and ruminate on my thoughts all day. I prefer to do something about it. But my friends are, eh, it can be a bit difficult for them to just spontaneously pick up the phone. So I decided I'm just gonna vent to you guys live and go from there. Hello, Redstone Tech 01. Do you have a nickname for that? Because that's a pretty long one, but welcome in. I apologize for the sour mood today, but ooh, boy, it's just one thing after another. It's not the most terrible day in the world. Like, I'm sure compared to like people starving or anything like that, I have a very good life. It's just a bunch of really crazy stuff happened. All right. How am I? I'm glad you asked because that's the whole point of this stream. So, first off, I finished my nap and I got a text message from my friend that I was supposed to talk to today. And she said that a client called her last minute. And as a result, we had to postpone our phone call until tomorrow. So I guess silver lining there is it could have been so much longer of a wait, but you know what? Tomorrow is better than nothing, but I was still just like, oh, so my alarm woke me up from my nap only to be told, oh, what you set the alarm for no longer exists. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll kill time by going on YouTube. And so went on YouTube and got a comment that said, "Hey, I don't want to offend you. I'm so sorry if I offended you, but why is your voice so girly?" And I'm like, "Oh, as if I haven't gotten that like hundreds of times by now." So I decided I would respond creatively as a way of getting over my frustrations. Hello, Kateri. Welcome to the middle of me just completely venting about my frustrations. Hope you're doing better than I am. But for now, I hope you guys are ready to hear the insanity. So, like I said, I've gotten that comment so many times. And it'll always seem like it's on the most random videos ever, not complimenting the work I put into the video, not anything like that. Well, that's the thing about modern thinking is you would think, with the way that trans activists act, that gender is just a construct and sex and gender aren't the same thing. You'd think that that's the reality because that's what the super loud minority will tell you. But here's the thing. That very statement, "I thought you were a girl because of your voice," in and of itself is a stereotype, not an absolute. Because there are girls that have really low voices and they didn't take testosterone or anything like that. That's just how their hormones played out. But does that make them a man because of their voice? Plus, if you look at my skeletal structure, these are very rocky and jagged shoulders, which is typically a sign of a biological male. Got the Adam's apple that sticks out quite a bit. Maybe with this camera angle, it's hard to tell, but like in real life, if you see me looking sideways, that Adam's apple's gonna jut right out like a jagged boulder. You don't really see that on too many women. I've heard some women do, but from what I can tell, that's more the exception than the norm. I've also posted videos of me shirtless, which um, I guess you could make the argument that women can have mastectomies, but I'm pretty sure that would leave like a certain amount of scarring, whereas I don't have any scars, as you can see in the pictures. But anyway, so I decided to respond creatively to that comment. Oh, thank you for liking my hairstyle. That does actually kind of make my day. You can thank the dermatologist for helping it look a lot healthier because I was realizing that I was getting cold in the winter time. And so I asked the dermatologist if she could prescribe me something to make my hair thicker. And it took its sweet time, but it eventually worked. So I'm glad you approve of her prescription. So, my creative way of answering that comment for the umpteenth time was I said, comments like these make me feel so refreshed that modern thinking about sex and gender hasn't completely taken over. That in this modern era, we are still in the era where stereotypes define a gender instead of actual biological hard facts. Like, it used to be this super obvious common thing what someone's gender was. You just look at their chest, you look at the general structure of the body, boom, done. But in this modern era, oh, your voice is girly. You must be a girl, even though flat chested, broad shouldered, tough Adam's apple. I don't know. But yeah, and then even before that, this had kind of been building up because I had I just posted my best memories and my best games of 2025 video, and it had taken me an entire year to make both of those videos combined. And I was, I'm not perfectly proud of it. Obviously, I'm my own worst critic. So I, I nitpick every little mistake that I make in these videos. But I was hoping that at least one person would recognize the effort and maybe mention something along those lines. Like, I can tell that this was a year in the making, Paul, and I'm so glad that you put in all of that effort and you tried really hard to please your friends. And instead, I just have been getting a bunch of really generic comments like, cool memories, and that's it. Or, yo, bro, I love you. If you were to meet someone in real life and try to compliment them on making a speech, would you just say that to someone? Like, I guess I just don't get modern thinking, like, at all. Because I feel like if someone makes this super involved project that you really, really like, unless they're the whole like and subscribe, by the way, guys, because 90% of you aren't unless they do that nonsense, I feel like YouTubers really deserve a lot more credit than they get because the amount of work that they put in is absolutely insane. And I'm an amateur when it comes to YouTubing. So, I don't even do a lot of the advanced techniques that most YouTubers do. And as you guys now know from watching those end of year videos, Isabel no longer works for me. So the videos are going to kind of dip in quality a bit going forward. But I have heard from a couple of people that my videos still seem professional, even if they're not, which that is nice. But that's like two people out of 6,340 something subscribers last I checked. And it's like, okay, guess that's the reality of YouTubing is just people are gonna, people are just not gonna tell you what you want to hear. And so that's why I made up my mind. Oh, I am so sorry you feel like that. I did say it would be venting my frustrations, but, if you want to leave the stream and dislike it afterwards, that's totally cool. I don't wanna. Oh, okay, that's good. I mean, I am a psychology nerd, so it's possible that maybe your mom and I share a personality type. But I'm the type of person where I kinda just blurt out the first thing that comes to my mind. And that's why I can't stand being around, hardcore leftists. I mean, there are a few exceptions here and there. Like, I have friends of mine that, I have friends of mine that are Democrats, and I get along with them really well. We just choose not to talk about that kinda stuff, and then we ignore it. Meekness and what could you remind me what meekness is again? Because 'Cause I'm kinda drawing a blank. And welcome in, Carlos. Is that what you want me to call you? But yes, I do love being vulnerable. It's harder than you think because I tend to blurt out whatever's on my mind, but I don't always blurt out how I'm feeling. So, There was one time that I was just really, really upset, and I told myself, "All right, I'm just gonna cry, and I don't care if people are watching." And the tears just didn't come. I just still sat there looking like an idiot. No one came and comforted me because they didn't see me crying. They couldn't tell that I was upset, which again, I wasn't crying because I couldn't. I was like, come on, get the tears out, get them out, come on. And it still wouldn't come. So I guess I'm just the type of person that can't emote on command. Like I have to come up to someone and say, hey, would you be willing to hear me be frustrated? Which is, I guess, kind of what I'm doing now because the comments I've been getting have kind of invited it. But yeah, I suppose to get back to a train of thought that I lost earlier, I told myself going forward, ever since my friends Danielle and Matt watched my end of year videos from last year, that I told myself that the only like I was gonna pretend that they were the only 2 people in the world that watched my stuff, and I was gonna say, "Okay, if Daniel and Matt were watching this video, what content should I put in it to make them, give me a round of applause?" And so I realized that even if the video is technically a failure, if they end up liking it, then that makes it all worth it. When am I gonna drop the next vid? I hope I don't drop it, because then that'll break. I have a really weird sense of humor. I always tell people it's on another level. But to answer your question, I try to average putting out a video every week. This week I was impatient because one of my viewers, Matthew, sent me a really cool Christmas present. So I put that up yesterday, and also my best memories video I put up yesterday. So if you're already wanting something else, I'm gonna need at least a little bit of breathing room. But to be fair, I do have quite a lot of projects that I finished in advance so that I can just put those out for a couple of weeks, and then that'll give me time to kind of recharge and get some ideas for my next project. Because I'm the type of person that I am hardcore, hardcore progression, if you know anything about Linda Barron's interaction styles. Like, I am all about the journey, the process, step by step. Um, Typically, I don't really have an outcome in mind. Usually, the outcome that I have in mind doesn't even happen. So I don't even bother thinking about it. So usually when I do have an idea for a video, it kind of just comes on the spot, and then I usually make it that same day because I'm like, I can't just keep this in my head. I got to express it. And that's what essentially started this YouTube channel was I'm tired of keeping things in my head. I need other people to know what I'm thinking. I have never played Minecraft, but I do have the Minecraft DLC in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It was one of my least favorite packs, unfortunately, but from what I can tell from people that really like Minecraft, it seems like they did it with quite a lot of love and care because it seems like the stage was really well made and the spirit battles were very faithful to the original. Even down to like the movement of the enemies was like very Minecraft-esque. The one thing that I did here that kind of cracked me up was they mislabeled a lot of the songs in the soundtrack. And when I showed my friends the songs, they said, I don't recognize any of these. And I said, what are you talking about? It literally says it's from Minecraft. They're like, I have never heard these songs in Minecraft before. So years later, when I believe it was P. Jiggles was making a video about um, the origins of all the songs. He said that they were from like early editions of Minecraft that have since been delisted. So I thought to myself, why didn't they just say that in the soundtrack player? It comes easier to offer a detached, generic positive comment than to critique the actual production. Oh, no one gets. Oh, that kind of stinks. But I guess that's what my friends are for. That's why I made it really. First off, welcome in Door9520. Glad you could make it. Do you have a nickname that you want me to call you? 'cause I don't know, I feel like the average person wouldn't wanna be called a door. So if you want me to call you anything else, please let me know. But, I appreciate you giving me that insight. I will, maybe in my next video being like, "Did you guys know that you are impersonal on my YouTube videos?" Something like that. Ooh. Oh, this'll be fun. This'll be really fun. But yeah, what was I saying? That's what I did tell myself when I was making those end of year videos. If no one else is gonna like it, what is gonna make Danielle and Matt happy? I adjusted the footage. I adjusted some of my speaking patterns. I even refilmed certain scenes in the best games video, and I like re-edited it a second time so that I have a took out some of the scary stuff and I replaced it with. And there's a part of me that kind of wishes that was the list wouldn't make sense. Okay, we're coming at a bit of a rapid rate, so forgive me as I read these through. Meekness is okay. So meekness is like humility. It's what strive to be. So thank you for pointing that out, Carlos. Where am I from? I am from the Midwest. I do not want to say where, but I have been told that even by Midwestern standards, I have what people call a non-accent. Pronounce things so wildly all over the place that people don't usually know where I'm from just by listening to me speak. Like even people in my own home state talk differently than I do. Share a prayer with us? You might need to be a bit more specific with that because if you're asking me to pray for you, I can do that. Or do you want me to thank God for something? Which country? The United States. Yeah, I am not the biggest fan of travel. Hence why I don't really do a whole lot of travel vlogs on this channel. In fact, in the entirety of 2025, I did not ever go out of state. I went to a farther part in my state to go to Comic Con, but it was still in my state and it was mainly just to hang out with friends from a different state that wanted to visit me this time because I went and visited them the last two times in a row. But yeah, I'm very much a homebody and I like the United States. They are, life is just so much more convenient. We want Minecraft series. Unfortunately, I don't think I can do that because I am not very creative. I am the type of person that, like, if I try to draw someone, it is gonna look like a child's doodle. I made a joke in my end of year videos where I said I have the artistic ability of a twig. And what I meant to say was I have the artistic ability of someone who stuck a twig into a can of paint and scribbled on it because they didn't have a proper drawing brush. So if you can imagine what that looks like, my art is probably even worse. And that's why I've never played Minecraft because me and drawing just do not get along. And that goes for DIY and build your own games. That's why I'm not good at WarioWare DIY, not good at I've never played it, but I probably would be terrible at games like Roblox, Game Builder Garage. That's another one that I'm just like, nope, not for me. That's just way too complicated. Who is we? Your guess is as good as mine, Dor. Okay, I think I reread your comment, Carlos, and I think you meant pray for us. Um, yeah, I suppose I can quickly pray for you guys. It won't be a super involved prayer because I do want to make sure I'm saying hi to people that come in and answer questions, but I suppose I can say something really quickly. All right. Name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, please be there for every single person in my audience. I have too many people to name names, but thank you for everyone who is supportive and parasocial. Thank you for my friends that were the primary inspiration for my videos, and please help me to be the world's longest running YouTuber. Amen. Other social accounts? Yes, but I don't really feel like sharing them here. You can go ahead and oh, hold on a sec. My friend just messaged me. I'm gonna see if she's gonna come. I have no idea. Oh, okay. My eyes skimmed. Okay. Okay, so my friend is not gonna be able to come, but she said she'll leave a comment later, so that's nice. Ah, Mexico. That's cool. Well, I should say that's hot because whenever I think of Mexico, that's literally the first thing that pops into my mind is like there must be so much sunshine over there. Like, how do you guys handle it? I'm a winter person. I know I'm wearing a t-shirt, but you can see how pale my skin is. I just can't stand the sunlight. I guess I'll be the mean one. Pretty generic. Yeah, you get your haters for put it this way. When it comes to the best memories videos, it all started out through Facebook. And when I was on Facebook, I would make these lists of my best memory. Oh, before I say that, hello, Matthew. Welcome in. Thank you so much for giving me the amiibo. How's your day been going? But yeah, as I was saying, so my best memories videos started out as just me get making like a list of like these are the top 20 memories of my year, and people really, really loved them. They were like my most popular Facebook notes, and once Facebook shut down Facebook Notes in 2020, I said, no way am I stopping this tradition." So this year marked year 15 of keeping it alive in some form. And as far as the best games video, I wanted to make it something that only I would make. So I thought to myself, what can be done to make it separate from all these other games of the year videos that other YouTubers make? And so I thought, well, I can't just redo the stage play of, oh, the game of the year video. Okay. Okay, that's a bit of a long story. So let me tell you guys what happened with that one. So, first off, coordinating that stage play was it was very, very difficult because Esabel and I lived in completely different states. And so I had to say, like, okay, here's how I want you to act. But then there were certain parts where she didn't always know the logistics. There were times when she improvised. There were some last minute things where I said, hey, this would be cool, do this. And then she would say, well, maybe I should do this instead. And there was so much back and forth because there were, long periods of time where she didn't think she would have the stage at all because they were like working in it. And then she had to coordinate when she could get the stage because we filmed it in front of real curtains. And we were going to sing a duet, but then that fell through because we didn't know music theory. So I didn't know how to say, like, well, sing it a little bit differently than this. So the fact that we got that video done at all, I think is honestly nothing short of a miracle because we had a musical number that it didn't end up being a duet, but we did end up making lyrics that I wrote myself. And like I said, we filmed it with real curtains. There was only one thing that we filmed that I was actually there while she was filming it. Everything else was like she'd send it to me and then I'd either approve or disapprove. Thankfully, pretty much everything she actually did on the stage was was really good. Especially that alternate timeline bit. Like that was I'm surprised we got that done because that was the last thing that we filmed for that video as far as like the introductory skits. Because Life is Strange Double Exposure was the most recent game to come out in 2024 that made it on the list. And I had already told her for Arzette, which was one of the earliest skits that she filmed, I said, make it so that it looks like you just pop into existence, just like the cutscenes in that game do. And like that was the original plan. But then once Life is Strange Double Exposure came out, I realized that because it was so late in the year, I had to like quickly put in where the position was. And then I realized that it was going to be next to Arzette. So I thought, what if we incorporate the order into the skit? So I made it so that Isabelle was transported into an alternate dimension where she was unprofessional. And I deliberately said, like, make your editing be more choppy at this point. So then I had her do a bit where she dressed up as the fairy in her unprofessional dimension and then parted open the timelines just like Max does in Double Exposure. And then she popped onto the stage making a double meaning, meaning that it kept with the spirit of the cutscenes of Arzette and she popped back into the professional dimension. And I just said when I was making the 2025 video, I said, I just don't think I can feasibly do that again because that's just way too much coordination. So I thought that we try to make it a bit more casual this year, maybe like to make up for the lack of a stage, I'd have more of those like skits. But then as the year drew to a close, Isabel revealed that she wanted to step down from being my editor. And so I realized that the whole ending sequence that I planned was going to be a downer because she had said in there, I have no intention of quitting, and then proceeded to quit. So at the very last minute, I think it was like a month before the video went out, I said, Isabel, can you film yourself in almost every single costume you've ever dressed up in so that this can be like a farewell to you, so that everyone can say, like, yo, Isabel, what a great way to go. And um, we even called it the Big and Small music video. And to be honest, I have said that Donkey Kong and Pauline's relationship is an exaggerated parody of my friendship with Isabel because I am big and goofy and she is small and timid. Our dynamic works pretty darn well. How many members help me make those videos? It's a complicated question because a lot of the stuff for this year's video was done in advance by other people, but as far as who actually made the video itself, I did it all by myself. So for example, Matt, he did compose Paul's epic theme, but that was back in 2023. And I've just kept that as the unofficial theme song of the channel ever since then because my sound mixing was so terrible back in 2023 that I wanted people to be able to actually hear it because it was like barely audible, even if I turned the volume up to 200% back then. So that's why I've made music videos about it. And that's why, like, as my videos near the end, he made the song so perfect that when I was saying keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless at the end, the song sounded like it was made for that, which he later said in an interview that it was. And that interview is published if you guys want to check it out. Um, the introduction that you hear and then the end screen where it has, Paper Paul on it, Isabel arranged the opening. I think Matt helped a little bit too. And then Ty the One Up guy, who you all know is my favorite YouTuber at present, he drew the Paper Paul, but he didn't know that I would make it for my end screen. I just told him, like, hey, I would like you to draw a paper version of me in the style of the Thousand Year Door remake. And I guess, like, he was super honored that it went beyond what I told him I was going to do. And that's just a general theme of everyone that's ever helped me on my videos is that they don't realize how much I end up loving their contributions. And then those contributions become mainstays on my channel. Oh, William, I only told you some of the lore. Oh, you just wait until I tell you the full story of a lot of went into those end of year videos, and that's why they took an entire year to make. But uh, for example, um, Matt came up to me after my Best Games of 2022 video, and he loved the fact that I got Kevin Brighting to have a whole speaking bit. And I have literally had people find my channel because they love Kevin Brighting, and they would search him up and they'd find my video and be like, "Yo, you got that guy to be in your video." And Matt said, "Well, for your next year, I want to compose something special for you." So he composed that music thinking it would just be the background music for when I announced Tears of the Kingdom as my game of the year. But then I ended up talking for too long. So Matt ended up incorporating it into a bigger Zelda medley. And again, my sound mixing back then was not good. So I realized, dang, this is so cool. I'm just going to like make it more. So when Matt found that out, he was like, I didn't even intend for it to be like a mainstay on your channel. I just intended it to be for that one video and call it a day. And now like it's my theme song. If I were to ever be in Smash Brothers, that would be my victory theme, was the Paul's favorite costume splash screen on the Best Memories video. And then Paper Paul, again, I think Tyler just thought that would be a one-off, and it turned out to be the avatar for my channel because now you see it on every end screen. And you know, Isabel's theme, that's also been a bit of a running joke because she had a YouTube channel before she started working for me, and, like, she had her own theme song, and then, like, incorporating that and um, the skits was actually one of the easiest parts of making that video, William. Um, as far as the 2024 video, the reason why it took a year to make was coordinating the stage play. That was the main reason why it took so long was, well, first I had to play the games. Then I had to sort out like the videos that would play when the number would show on. But then I also had to like tell Isabel how to make each of the costumes, and then she had to get into the costume, find a time to film it, coordinate it with the university because again, we wanted real curtains. We were originally going to do a green screen, but then that fell through at the last minute. So she said, "Well, I have real curtains at my university." So we said, "Let's just go with that for the entire video so that it can stay consistent." And then the opening skit where, like, I stepped on the screen and said my bit, that was done while I was at that university when I was visiting her. So, like, we had to make sure that that was done. Thankfully, it only took 2 takes. You would think a big speech like that would take longer. And then, like, her whole revenge arc bit, she did that all by herself, so I had to, like, approve of that. And then, you know, we had to write the duet lyrics and then, like, arrange that together. And as for this year, the reason why it took so long to put together was that I not only did I have to play the games, but then I also had to keep thinking about what I was going to say. And of course, none of my videos are scripted. So I kept rehearsing over and over again, like, how am I going to present this to the audience? And then I ended up not even saying most of what I had rehearsed. So it just kind of blurted out the day of. But then I was thinking, like, okay, let's arrange the skits. Then I got to tell Isabel the order in which to dress up in the costumes. That only took like a month, thankfully. But then we had to make sure that when she was visiting me, we had to do like the opening skits because I had her wear the same dress for both the best memories and the best games video. And then she had to do, like, the opening bit where she was joking around about ENFP memories. Yeah, a lot of work that went into that, and pretty much no one ever commented on that. So that was a big part of my frustration. What would you recommend to read as someone starting out with the Church Fathers? Um, I'm not the best person to answer that, just because for me personally, I don't really how do I word this? I don't really need convincing that the Catholic Church is real, so I don't often look at, like, all these influential figures that helped to, like, define church history, like, I just say, "Well, if the church teaches it, it must be true," because I was miraculously healed on several occasions, during Eucharistic adoration, and it was so powerful, these miraculous healings, that I can recall the exact sensations that I felt and, like, how long it took between going to adoration and out, and the fact that there was just this holy feeling that came, like, the moment the monstrance started facing toward me. I'm like, "There is no way that the Eucharist is just a piece of bread." And as a result, I never felt the need to research the church fathers because I didn't need convincing. Because my personal experience was good enough, and I guess I just never questioned the church's answers, and then whenever, like, Protestants and atheists would come along and they would say, like, "Well, this is what we believe," so I would always question their logic, like, I'd say, I don't know, that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense." And even just the concept of Catholicism seems like it's just the most sensical. Because I'm the type of person that I want to know the facts. I don't want to know your truth. I don't want to know my truth. I don't want to know any kind of internal logical framework. I just want to know what is objective reality. And the church is built on the foundation of hearsay, meaning that Jesus said this, and then he said that to his disciples, and then his disciples said that to their disciples, and so on and so on. And so then the question becomes, do you believe that that actually happened? And most Protestants don't. They don't believe that there was that kind of succession, and that's why they're not Catholics. And they also just disagree with some of the doctrinal teachings because they say, well, that's not in scripture, so why should we believe it? But then the question becomes, but what if Jesus said it and it just wasn't in scripture? Does that mean that we need to discount Jesus's words just because they weren't written down? Because oral tradition actually came before written tradition. So a lot of the prophetic messages that people would quote during Jesus's time were stuff that they heard from the prophets that weren't written down. In fact, I'm pretty sure there is a Bible verse in one of the Gospels where it said, like, according to the prophets, he shall be called a Nazarene. But I don't believe that verse actually exists in the Old Testament. So that was an example of oral prophetic tradition that the gospel writers were assuming that everyone would also say, like, yeah, why is it that you're only following the written word? That's so stupid. Why not just follow whoever is holy or whoever is ordained by God? I feel a little guilty. Really enjoyed both your new videos. Watch them over a day or two each. Positivity and passion radiating from them. I love. I'll try to comment in the future. I really let me see if I can read that. Coolio Defab. That's a cool name. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm sorry they were so long, but again, like I said, wanted to make sure that they felt like the kind of thing only I would make because I watch a lot of end of year videos myself. I love watching other people's top tens. And I just noticed that they were kind of samey. It like every single video I watch would just be like, this is the game, and then this is the next game, and then this is the next game, and it would feel like kind of like an office project that someone was just like, oh, another day, another video. Whereas when I make my videos, I wanted it to feel like this is a polished project that was made with passion and enthusiasm and wanted to be like this grand, gigantic celebration. So I was like really careful to like listen to the soundtracks of the games and be like, what is the most triumphant music here? And because most YouTubers would just pick like the main theme of each game. And sometimes that would be the only thing that would work. But like I wanted to say which one sounds the most like a celebration. And then I also got feedback in live stream long ago where someone said, I like it when you explain your reasoning for why you put the games in the positions that you do. So I had to think, okay, well, let's explain why this is number 4 and why this is number 5. And then there was also, I got feedback saying that people wanted me to explain what the games were. So, like, when I first did end of year videos, I only just expressed my enthusiasm. But some of the people that watched those weren't gamers. So they were like, "Oh, I don't even know what the game is after you finish talking about it. So I can't share in your enthusiasm." So the non gamers were like, if you explain what the game is, then I can appreciate that. And maybe that'll make me want to play it more. So that was another factor as to why it was so long. And then I also wanted to like point out cool facts and, have some jokes in there, like the bit about Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC. I wanted to like showcase that a game that was in consideration for my game of the year also had like such a controversial thing. So it was all out of love for my friends. It was all because my friends had said all these bits of feedback, and some of them had literally given me like a round of applause when we hung out. And they just said, like, I like this. I like this. Can you do this better? And I just said, If no one else likes my videos, I'm just going to listen to those guys and that'll be good enough for me." So there you go. That's the extensive lore and backstory behind the best games of 2024 and 2025. And that's just from my perspective. Like, Isabel has an entire half of a video where she explains what she went through to do that. No, I am not going to review Metroid Prime 4. I am terrible, absolutely terrible at shooters. So I would probably die at level 1. I'd probably lose even in the tutorial level. I'd be so bad. So, no, I will not review it, but I do think it looks phenomenal in terms of like raw horsepower. Like, I just love Fury Green as a first level. Every time I watch it, I'm just in awe of the sunlight and the greenery and the waterfalls and the flowing water. It was so inspiring by how beautiful it was that it made me look over some of my old reviews, trying to find good water in those games to see if I could like recapture that Metroid feeling with games I had actually played. Because I was like, no way would I be able to get to Fury Green on my own. And if I did, I'd just barely stumble through it. But welcome in. I'm afraid that that might be a slur, so I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it. So I'll just call you Key for now. Welcome in, Key. Hope you're doing well. Oh, thank you so much, Coolio. Did I say that right? Coolio? Sorry if I mispronounced it. I appreciate you liking the length. Yes. That actually was one of the other main goals was I wanted it to feel like I was excited. Cuz I've always said that I'm not good at showing my emotions on command except for excitement. That's like the one emotion where you are going to hear it. If I am excited about something, I am just going to tell everyone and you're going to see a video about it. That's why I put out my reviews like pretty much immediately. Like, I don't even wait for my usual week deadline because I'm like, I'm not just going to keep all these thoughts about these reviews in my head. Everyone's going to know about it. So I wanted that to like spill over into the end of year videos so that more people could be like, wow, you had an amazing year, Paul. And now I'm hearing the thought process behind how some games were more amazing than others. That wasn't what I was worried was a slur. But with modern lingo, you'd be surprised how many terms are completely different than when I was a kid. Like when people are saying based, when I was a kid, if you said the word based, you would assume that it would mean based on. So, like, you'd say, based on this book, or like you would think of a baseball diamond because how there's like the home base, first base, second base, and third base. So, when people started saying based on my videos, I was like, what does that have to do with baseball? Like, and then people would say W, and I'd be like, is that supposed to be an abbreviation for something? What the heck are you guys talking about? And that was one of many reasons that led to me, deleting that video, was I was just so tired of the modern slang and no constructive words, no, um Well, I shouldn't say none. It's just that the few constructive comments I got were in the vast minority. I used to have Twitter, but unfortunately, I was kicked out, and I don't even know why. Um, if I had to guess what happened, it's because my browser had to reset, and then for some reason, my browser, um, I guess it like restarted Twitter, and then it didn't let me get back in, even though I'm pretty sure I knew my password and my username, but it said like username invalid. And so I just said, well, I hate Twitter anyway, so forget it. But to be honest, I don't miss it. In my opinion, Twitter is a place for over opinionated people to want to just put out their thoughts and not, ooh, oh shoot, my computer's about to die. I can keep talking, but let me just plug this in. Good thing I caught that. There we go. Okay, we're all set. Sorry if I left